but that is something that you must start factoring in that, the waiting for the market to stabilize approach is just not going to work any longer, because throughout 2022, we're going to see prices just go up and up and up. Welcome to Stream, a trucktractortrailer.com production. My name is Zach Miller. I'm your host, and I guess we do have to call this an emergency podcast. I try very hard to avoid the, emergency podcast moniker. I do think it's overused in podcasting, but let's be honest here. We do have an emergency. And we needed to fire up the podcast and talk about it because there was a lot of cautious optimism headed into 2022 that the OEMs would be able to deliver all the new units that the fleets were promised, and that the fleets would then be able to liquidate their used assets and so on and so forth, and that these prices for used trucks and trailers and other heavy equipment would begin to stabilize here. Unfortunately, here we are as we're going to wrap up the first quarter in the year here, and that is not the case. Not only is that not the case, but prices are actually going up because the delays have become much more significant than people hoped for. Of course, there are, global and geopolitical situations going on that this is not the podcast to discuss it, but it is happening. We all know what's happening, and so the continued supply chain issues, the continued supply issues will go forward here, and the truck and trailer and other used equipment prices will continue to increase. So, all that being said, I know there are many buyers out there that were sort of holding off for as long as possible in the hope, and I think in some cases expectation even, that these prices would start to stabilize and you would be able to get that truck or trailer that you needed at the cost for you. And the reason for this episode is to unfortunately say that's not going to be the case. Rather, the opposite is true, is you should look to buy sooner rather than later, because the sooner you get in, you're going to get in at a lower price. You'll be able to lock that interest rate in at a fixed cost, whereas we expect to see fluctuations there as well. And certainly there'll be a link to the video with Andrew Johnston talking about the inflation and interest rates. But I think it's important to have an honest conversation with you, the viewer, specifically you, the buyer, specifically you, that small fleet owner operator buyer, because some of the conversations that we've been having recently in terms of people looking to buy equipment, we are seeing buyers that we've never seen before, because these type of buyers do not buy used. And they certainly would not buy used at the prices that they're spending on it, just because they are so absolutely desperate to get those vehicles and equipment in, that they are doing something which they've never done in their business operations, and that is spend a fortune on used trucks and trailers and other commercial assets. It's pretty remarkable. It's I'm sure for the owner operator, it's a little scary to hear that. But that being said, there are still deals available. There are still trucks and trailers available. Yes, at a higher price than you might want, but we're trying really hard to hold off on that astronomical pricing. But that is something that you must start factoring in that, the waiting for the market to stabilize approach is just not going to work any longer, because throughout 2022, we're going to see prices just go up and up and up. Yes, they will stabilize eventually. And, yes, if you think you can maintain your current equipment for another 6 to 8 months, Now you might have to spend a little bit more on maintenance than you'd want, but that's your call. You know your business better than anybody else. You know what's right. But if you have any sort of concerns about that vehicle lasting another 6 to 8 months, you really need to buy now, and you really need, and again, you could give us a call at trucktractortrailer.com. Tell us what you're looking for. Tell us what your price range is, and we can source it. We're not just going to throw you into the most expensive thing possible. That's not what we do here. And frankly, as I said even earlier, we do have deep-pocketed buyers for those expensive and high listed assets. So there's no heavy sales pitch here. We don't need to do it. We really just want to make sure you get in the vehicle that's right for you at the best price that could possibly work for you. Because our job is to keep truck drivers and fleets operating on the road in safe, affordable assets. And those safe, affordable assets are there. Well, affordable might be, depends on your definition, but they are available. And relative to the market price, they're available. I mean, and that's part of the mindset I think you need to have, in that it's affordable for this current market. This current market that sees leasing and rental companies buying used assets, which they never do. This market, which sees dealers interested in even buying and flipping used commercial, which is not something that they really do. That's just not a part of their business. They have other things to focus on. But right now, the market is such that that's what they're focusing on. I don't love coming here with bad news. It's not why I got into trucking. It's not why I got into podcasting. I like to entertain and educate. But with education, sometimes comes hard lessons. And that's why it was important to fire up this pod and just have a really open and honest and yes, a little bit painful conversation, but it is something that you need to be aware of. Because if you are not aware of everything that's happening in the industry, then I have failed to do my job. And that is unacceptable. I will say, I will leave you with a little bit of a teaser. We will have a podcast coming up in the next week or so about fuel savings, about programs that are available to really save money on fuel. Again, we know where fuel prices are right now and where they're expected to go. So obviously, this is a perfect time for that. And we will have that up and loaded, hopefully really early next week. That's our goal as I sit here recording to you today. But I really did just want you to be aware of all that's going on. Again, all the information is in the link below to contact us at trucktractortrailer.com or contact, wherever you look and buy for used trucks, trailers, commercial assets. It's an incredibly difficult market out there, but with that, there are opportunities. We want to help you with those opportunities, and more importantly than any of that, you just need to start changing your mindset around a little bit. That things have not changed for the better that we all hoped for. They will, of course, eventually. It's just that timeline keeps getting pushed back and pushed back and pushed back. And as that timeline gets pushed back, you need to make decisions for your business and what's best for your business. And you cannot do that if you're not operating with the full information, which is why we found it really important to provide that for you today. So definitely look out for the fuel savings podcast coming up. Definitely be sure to check out the podcast that we just recorded with Andrew Johnston about interest rates and inflation. And if you like what you see, please be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you next time here on stream.